Hello, I'm Laura Pearson from the Motherload Book Club, and today we're talking to Beth Clift, who is the author of Last One at the Party, coming out from Hodder on the 4th of February. Hi, Beth.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's very snowy here, so that's
Snowy
good.
here too. We're just pretending we're not homeschooling and in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
We're having a snow day today for school, so that's quite nice.
Oh, that is nice. We had an email to say our school was closed, but my children aren't there anyway, so it doesn't make any difference.
Should have emailed back and been like, so.
Yeah. Right, can you tell us a bit about Last One at the Party?
Of course. So Last One at the Party is about a woman in her mid-30s who is, as far as she is aware, the lone survivor of a global pandemic. And the novel is about how, where, and ultimately why she decides that she will survive.
And what inspired you to write that?
Gosh, so the main idea came after I found myself lost and lonely one dark night in the wilds of the Oxfordshire countryside. I was on my way back from a work conference and had got lost in the middle of nowhere and had no mobile phone signal, couldn't see any houses, couldn't see any cars, couldn't see any signs. And I suddenly thought, my goodness, I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. And I pulled the car over and I got out the car, and there was just nothing. There was no noise, there were no aeroplanes, there were no other people. It was literally just me and a bunch of cows in the next field chewing very noisily. And I suddenly had the thought of, what if this is it? What if I am the last person? What if everyone else has just suddenly disappeared? And what would I do and where would I go? So that was the first kind of inklings at the back of my brain about, oh, this is quite interesting. What would I do and where would I go? And then I thought, I'm not a very interesting character to write that about. So I invented a character who would be interesting in that situation, a character who is completely unsuited to being the last person left alive because she has no skills whatsoever that will help her.
So let's talk about your protagonist. How well do you think she copes in the very bleak situation she finds herself
in? Well, I'm gonna, I want to be kind to her, of course. Bloody awfully, I think I always wanted to write about someone who wasn't equipped with those skills, someone who was like me or like you or the person who lives down my road. So she was never going to be Ripley from Alien. She was never going to be some kind of skilled protagonist. And for me, I think her initial reactions are incredibly honest. I think your natural reaction as a human being is to try and make everything better. You just want to feel better. No one wants to feel sad. No one wants to feel alone. No one wants to feel like they're stuck or lonely or without any kind of hope. So for me, I think she probably does many of the things that I would do in that situation. I think there's nothing that she does in the beginning that is completely unwarranted. That being said, she doesn't do anything useful at all, and she is literally so self-centered and it's all about her. So I think definitely in the beginning she copes incredibly badly, and then I think as she grows as a character and as she grows in her own confidence and as she grows in her self-belief, then things start to change a little bit, because otherwise I feel like she'd have ended up just lying in a bed somewhere and not getting out.
I think what you've just talked about though is what's so refreshing about the book. I said to you when we were talking about this interview before we did it that I feel like you've invented a new genre here. I think the fact that she's no Indiana Jones figure, and she is your sort of every woman maybe, and she doesn't know what to do when she finds herself the last woman alive on Earth. I think it makes for a really refreshing original read. So commend you for that.
Thank you. And I think for me as well, you know, the fact that she's female, and that's kind of, you know, a lot. I find we get quite a lot of dystopian fiction like this, survival fiction, which does feature male protagonists. And I like the fact that she's not a strong female character in kind of what she does, but she is a strong female character in that she is all in.
Yeah.
You know, she is not going to pretend to be something that she's not.
Yeah.
She spent the rest of her previous life doing that. So this is the final moment when she can be her.
What do you think, if you were the last person on Earth, where do you think you would go, and what would you take with you? Aside from, obviously, you can't take people because they're already gone. What would you rescue from your house? And
so I would definitely get myself a dog. In the novel, the Golden Retriever Lucky is inspired by a dog that I knew when I was younger called Daisy. We never had a dog, and I was desperate for a dog, and we had some lovely neighbours who had a Golden Retriever called Daisy. And even though I was kind of like 14, 15 and incredibly irresponsible, they allowed me to walk her for like 2 or 3 hours a day. And even back then, I just remember how good it was for my mental health as a stroppy teenager to have this amazing animal that used to lollop along by my side, obviously thinking, when can we go home? And I'd be like, we're having so much fun, Daisy. And then and we've recently got a little puppy, Pickle, and she's just amazing again. It's, you know, someone that you can love unconditionally. So I think a dog.
And just some company.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just some other living thing to love, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
And I would take a miner, one of those little miner's lights, you know, that you strap around your head. Because we when we got Pickle, we got one of those so that we can go out in the garden with her after dark and scoop up anything that she leaves behind. And they're so useful. I like use them in cupboards now. I'm like peering in with my little light to see.
I have an understairs cupboard that goes like round a corner, and I'm hunting for things in it. So yeah, maybe I need one of those. This is just like a general useful life tip.
It's seriously one of my best like purchases. I'm like, I can't believe I lived my life before without it. You know, every time I go anywhere, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll take it upstairs with me without putting the hallway light on. And the other thing that I most definitely would take would be a hot water bottle. I just think I can't stand being cold. And I did loads of camping when I was younger. I used to go camping a lot. And lived in abject misery for like the 4 hours sleep I got a night, wrapped in my crappy Argos sleeping bag whilst freezing to death. So, and a hot water bottle as you get older, you realise they are such a source of warmth and comfort. And none of that's very glamorous, is it? I should put, and a Chanel handbag.
And some books.
Well, in my brain, obviously, I would be able to just go to the British Library and chow on down. I'd probably move into the British Library for quite some time. You'd be able to set yourself up somewhere nice. I'd go and raid a couple of shops nearby, get myself some comfy blankets, get a bit of dog food, get my dog in there. Yeah. And then just kind of, you know, probably spend 10 years, then think about it. Think about what to do next. Oh my God, I totally am my protagonist. I feel awful.
So, The Elephant in the Room, here you are, your debut novel about a pandemic. You write it before the current pandemic, but it's coming out in the middle of the pandemic. How does all that feel? I guess what I'm saying, Beth, is this all your fault?
Let's hope not, because you want to know what my second one is about. Gosh, no, but it's every now and again I stop and I think about the craziness of the situation. I mean, I signed my deal in October of 2019. And started my first edits in January of 2020. And my sister sent me a picture that she'd taken on the tube into work of a tiny article, literally 3 lines in the Metro, which was something about virus in China, which was spreading quite rapidly. And that was all it was, like second or third week in January. And then by the time I'd sent my first edits in, got them back and was starting on my second edits, we locked down. So immediately we had to make a decision, myself and my brilliant editor, about whether or not to include any references to COVID-19 in the novel. But Last One at the Party is a novel set in the real world. There is nothing that happens in it that theoretically could not happen in this world. You hope most of it wouldn't happen in this world, but theoretically it could. So we made the decision quite quickly that there should be some kind of reference, because obviously if there was another pandemic that close, people already know about things like social distancing. So when I wrote the original novel, I spent a lot of time doing this and thinking of like interesting things to put in, like would people wear masks, like would people socially distance, like would goats take over Llandudno, and now all these things have happened. So, to all the people that think I just stole them from what's currently happening, actually I spent many, many hours thinking them up.
I loved
so those parts maybe I did predict.
I loved the references to COVID in the book. I thought it was, I knew that the book would have been written before that, but the fact that you put those in, and there isn't a lot of it, but there's just enough.
No. And I think, for me, the novel has never been, the novel is not about a pandemic. The pandemic, 6 DM, 6 days maximum, is not a long time to be suffering. And the pandemic is over and done with very quickly within the novel. And the novel is about someone's survival. It's not about the death of everybody else. It's about the life of this one woman. And I chose a pandemic because it was the easiest one to do, but it could have been aliens or everyone just suddenly disappearing for no reason.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the thing that's got me through is the knowledge that my novel is not about a pandemic. It's about one woman's story from being the person that she never meant to be, the person that she actually wants to be. And it's about life, and it's about hope, and it's about discovery, and it's about how, as long as you do have life, you do have hope. And I think that's why what's kept me going throughout the kind of pandemic, and the fact that the novel is coming out when it is, when we're in our third lockdown. Third lockdown. When's this interview going out? Because if it goes out in a couple of months, who knows?
Well, yeah, I think we'll still be in this one, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's, I think it's not been easy. It's been, I felt quite guilty at times, because I obviously did used to work for the NHS, and I left literally before this happened. But again, I think the fact that I am safe in the knowledge that I've not written a novel about the pandemic. And if people are looking for a novel like that, if they're looking for something like Contagion, this is not the novel for them, because it's over and done with quite quickly.
Okay, so that takes us quite nicely on to my final question, which is, what do you want readers to take away from this?
I think the main thing that I want readers to take away is that there is this sense of hope in the novel. We start with a character who really thinks that everything and everyone for her is gone, and actually she is just this is just the beginning of her journey to discovering who she really is and what makes her happy. And for me, I think that's really timely at the moment, because of the current pandemic. A lot of us are discovering that the lives that we've led, when you strip everything away from them, when you strip going out to the pub and going out to restaurants and going out here, there and everywhere, are they actually the lives that we want to lead? I know that I personally have looked at kind of like what I'm doing with my life, where I live, the time that I spend with my children, what I want my future to look like. And I think to varying degrees, a lot of people will be in that situation. And there will be some people who realise that this is not the life that they chose, that they, through a series of decisions, ended up somewhere that they didn't think they would be. And I guess for me, the great thing would be is if people read the novel and took away from that where there is life and where you have life, there is always hope that you can change that life and live the life that you want to.
Kind of
reset. It sounds quite deep, doesn't it, at the end of it? And also, I hope it's entertaining.
Well, it's definitely that. This is the kind of novel I'm going to be knocking on people's doors and saying, have you read this novel? I think you should read this novel.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Also, the ending has proved far more controversial than I thought. So to the people that are like, oh my God, like, oh, how could you end it like that? I'm terribly sorry.
Don't apologise. So I said that was my final question, but I guess I would like to know, and I'm sure other people would like to know, is there another book coming, and is there anything you can tell us about it?
It's about an alien invasion. No, it's not.
What can we expect on the news headlines next year, Beth?
There is a second book. I can't say too much because obviously I'm deep in the drafting process and things change pretty much hourly at the moment. But it's set in the future again, a little bit further in the future this time. It's an unconventional romance and it involves quantum computing. So everybody can go and Google what's the worst thing that can happen with quantum computing and get ready for it.
But there's more than one character this time, I'm assuming.
Yes, there is. There is. But
that must be nice to write some dialogue.
It really is. It's nice to have more than one actual character that speaks rather than barks. So,
yeah. Okay, thank you so much for talking to us today. I hope everybody looks out for the book when it comes out on the 4th of February. And I think it's going to be absolutely massive. So thanks, Beth.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for all your support. So this has been a lovely interview. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.